Oh Lord, we need your word.
Let's go to Isaiah chapter 43, verse 1 and 2. We're going to read from the Christian Standard Bible. Isaiah 43, verse 1 and 2. Now, this is what the Lord says, the one who created you, Jacob, and the one who formed you, Israel. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And the rivers will not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be scorched. And the flame will not burn you. May God have a blessing to the readers, the hearers, and the faithful doers of His holy and righteous word. I want to preach to you about this topic here. We have invincible purpose. Somebody say, I got it. I got invincible purpose. Y'all got to stand about yourself. I got invincible purpose. An invincible purpose. Can nobody conquer what God has anointed to survive? There's nothing in this world that can stop the purpose that God has placed in your life. There's a lot of things that can happen, but when you start to walk in this concept of who you really are in God, you won't be easily swayed and defeated by circumstances that may come up. The word invincible is important because it means incapable of being conquered. Incapable of being conquered. Incapable of being defeated. Incapable of being subdued. It means too powerful to be defeated. And I want to define for you that purpose is the design of God for your created intent. Therefore, whatever God has created you for and has intended your life to be, there's nothing that can defeat that purpose. There's nothing that can subdue that purpose because God created you for it, and there's nothing that can come along to deter you or destroy you because you've got to fulfill God's purpose. What we have to understand is because we carry godly purpose, all of us have to understand that if we're carrying godly purpose and we know we're carrying it, then nothing can destroy us. You might not realize what you're carrying. That's how come you're so careless. You think it's all about you and not about what God has placed in you. You're not walking with this mindset that you're somebody special to God because you're too concerned about being special to folk. And you've got to get this in your spirit because God has already predetermined your purpose. So just because folk don't see your greatness don't mean you got to give in to their opinion. Just because doctors don't see your purpose, you don't have to give in to his diagnosis. Just because jobs don't want to keep you hired don't mean you have to give in to their layoffs. Listen, they don't see what God placed in you, so they're only acting from a worldly point of view. But when you know who you are, when you know what God has placed in you, when you know that God has you covered. We was in Sunday school this morning, and Brother Jones said one day his manager came to him and said, I was supposed to fire you yesterday. And Brother Jones said, well, God ain't told me. God ain't saying that. God ain't saying, if God got me here, I ain't worried about what you think. It ain't worried about what you do. Don't you know folk can walk around on your job or in your life trying to keep up fuss? But if they dig one ditch, they better dig two. Because the one they set for you might really turn out for them. And what you got to understand is that doctors and jobs and mortgage companies and banks, they don't know you like God created you. So that's how come when they deny you, it's not them denying you. It's God saying you need to trust me and I'll show you what I'm going to do for you. See, when you carry my purpose, I need you to be guided into every area that I have ordained for your life. It's some banks I don't want to give you no loan because they don't know how to treat you. It's some mortgage companies I don't want you fooling with because they got predatory lending. If you can just be patient and let me guide you. then I'm going to make sure you stay steady in your purpose. And so it don't matter if somebody you call yourself in love with don't know how to treat you. God, you ain't got to walk around acting like you defeated because somebody don't want to be with you no more. Oh, he ain't calling me no more. It's a blessing that Jack Blake ain't calling you no more. It's a blessing that Gold Glove ain't calling you no more, because there's some brothers and girls that God don't want you hanging out with. So stop crying over folks who have decided to voluntarily walk away from you, because your purpose is too important for you to let it get lost in folk opinion. Here's something that I feel very important, because when you get into this text, it's got to help us in our spiritual concepts, because God in this text is dealing with people who don't know how to trust him to bring them from where they are to where he promised. There are people who don't know that no matter where you've been, if it ain't what God promised, you ain't have to worry about it, because God is able to get you to what he promised. No matter how serious the issue is, no matter how far down you may think you have gotten, no matter how useless people try to make you feel, no matter how bad off the situation made you, when God is ready to guide you into purpose, it matters not what has happened, it just now matters if you got faith for what's about to happen. So when you look at this text, God sending word through the prophet Isaiah. And here it is, church. As I come, you got to pay attention sometime when old Reverend Ray will be talking. Because sometimes your word going to come through the message. Sometimes an answer can come through the man of God during the sermon. There's a message that God can have for you, so your ears got to be open. And watch this. I need to also say that there's some people who don't wear a collar, who don't wear a title, who God can send you a word. Yeah, sometimes you tell them to get out of your face because they're younger than you, but God can use them to send you a word. That's the thing that you got to say. When God is sending you a word, don't ignore the word because of the messenger. Because God can use anybody in any moment to give you a word. A child can warn a parent, you better be careful about how you talk down on your children. Because God can use them to give you a message. So in the text, God sends Isaiah to encourage the nation of Israel. Watch this. Get prepared to move forward despite the mistakes of your past. I want to talk to some people who think that their mistakes have destroyed their purpose.
Come on, Bishop.
I'm coming, Reg. Give me a few. There are a few of you who have gotten so consumed with what you did until you forget who you are. And this is what God is trying to get this nation to see. They was in captivity, watch this, because of their own disobedience. So watch this. You're not struggling sometimes because you are a failure. You're struggling sometimes because you failed at obedience. Don't get the two confused. Just because you're not succeeding in an area right now doesn't mean you don't have the anointing to succeed. It simply could mean that God just won't allow you to succeed until you straighten up some things that need to be straightened out for your purpose. There's some purposes God can't let your crooked mentality enter into. It's some things God won't release to you until you straighten some things out. You can keep praying about it. You can keep wishing for it. You can keep striving for it. And every time you'll be asking yourself, why can't I seem to succeed in this? And you'll mess around and let people make you feel like you're worthless and useless. And God is saying, send word to my people and tell them to get ready to move forward. Despite their mistakes, you still got purpose even though you got a bad past. Y'all ain't gonna let me preach it out of you. You still got a purpose even if you've been in the hospital. You still got a purpose even if you've been incarcerated. You still got a purpose even if folks don't want to have nothing to do with you. You still got a purpose even if you've gone through some hard stuff. You still got a purpose even because they feel insecure about their future based on what they saw themselves going through in the present. Can I help you with this? Don't show lack of faith and insecurity because of what you see now. Because Dre, here's the text that I want to throw at you from Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of everything you see. Wait a minute, that ain't what this is. It's the evidence of things not seen. So what you see in the present, don't let that make you feel insecure about your purpose in God's presence in your life is going to get you to your future. I'm going to talk to some people who not too really keen to understand this, but you've been dealing with a lack of faith. Your problem ain't your credit score. Your problem is your faith score. Your problem ain't folks won't help you, folks won't do this, but your problem is your attitude. Your problem is your mentality. You looking at what you're dealing with in the present, and you think that it's so bad that God can shift your life and still get you to your future. So God says to the nation through Isaiah, he said, tell the people. He said, get ready. Because I'm going to get ready to move them into their future. And right now they're showing a lack of faith and they feel insecure about their future because of what they see themselves in. They see themselves in bondage. And here I am talking about a promised land. I'm talking about a future. Talking about a blessed place. Talking about a place of blessing. Talking about a place of deliverance. Talking about a place where everything is going to be better. That all I can see is what I'm in right now. So the text sets up a powerful revelation for us. We don't have to fear anything. We don't have to fear anybody. Some of y'all worried and fearful about your future because you feel underachieved and rejected right now. You feel pushed aside and undervalued right now. Some of you are ready to give up on your dreams and goals, and even ready to give up on yourself because you made a few mistakes. Made some bad mistakes too. God don't really want me to give you any kind of, I guess I want to say levels. Mistake is a mistake. I said, no matter what your mistake is, my future for you is still in place. But I need you to get yourself ready. And so, Dre, God said, I'm ready to move you to your future beyond your past, but Dre, you ain't ready. Teach us. I'm ready to get you to the blessing I got for you, but your mind's still in the past. So you're still thinking about the old folks and the old girls and the old situations and the old settings, and you're not paying attention to what I might have for you. Talk now. Yeah, Dre, you're so consumed with what you had, so consumed with what you lost, so consumed with what ain't where it was. Instead of not understanding now that where you was ain't nothing compared to where you got to be. Yes, sir. Because when God get through blessing, Sister Jones, y'all got hands. When God get through blessing you, it's going to be more house than you signed up for. It's going to be more car than you signed up for. It's going to be more man than you wrote down in your scrapbook. It's going to be more woman than you had a dream about. It. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. It's going to be so much greater than what you put on paper because eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and neither has it entered into the heart of man what God really got in store for his people. And so Isaiah, he tells the people, he says, listen, y'all, I need y'all to get ready to move forward because God did something to help shift you from your past. I said, ask me what God did. Ask me again. He redeemed you. Y'all ain't saying nothing. It's in the text. It's in the text. The word redeemed means that God has reclaimed you. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. He has forgiven you. Dre, he cleaned you up and he justified your new life in him. God said, I reclaim you from your bad past. I'll forgive you for the mistakes you made. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. And then I'll clean you up and I'll make you righteous for your future. This ain't about what people think about you. It ain't about what society think about you. This is about what God think about you. God said, I'm getting ready to give you a going to be able to stop. I'm getting ready to give you a few. I know the folks in jail saying you ain't going to never amount to nothing. I know your mama saying you ain't going to never amount to nothing. I know folks around here talking about you useless and worthless. But when God got a plan for you, God said, I redeem you. I take you back from every bad mistake you made.
Yes, sir. Come on, man.
Got all these uppity folks. Got all these uppity folks shooting you down because you messed up. All these uppity folks trying to keep you contained because you messed up. And you know they have the nerve to say sometimes, you ain't never gonna be nothing because of what you did. They actually think, Lulu, that you ain't gonna never amount to nothing because they saw your flaw. Now, some folks are living off your faults. That's the only thing they know to talk about you about is your fault. At some point, though, y'all gotta listen to me, Julius. At some point, the same folk who talked about your fault gonna have to talk about your favor. Y'all ain't saying that with me. Because when God gets through, after He redeems you, now they ain't gonna say nothing because they're too jealous to say something. They're gonna act like they don't see it. They're gonna act like they saw you when you drove up, but they walked past like they ain't seen it. They see what you got on, but they say, they walk past. They see the favor of God. Because God, you see it, because God has redeemed you. They see you, dude. They act like they don't. And they're so angry, they're so upset because God decided that your purpose was invincible and that your past is not going to mess up what I planned for your future. You are here because God planned it. You're not here because you're perfect. Everybody get this now. I got to move on because I ain't got long. You're not here because you're perfect. And you're not going into your future because you're perfect. You're here because God planned it. And you're going where you're going because God has already preordained it. And somebody ought to be glad that God wanted you where you shall be because you have invincible purpose. I said somebody ought to be glad that God wanted you where you shall be because if He didn't want you where you shall be, He would have let your past destroy you. But because He wants you where you shall be, He redeemed you for what He really got for you. And so we have to now speak against those things in emotion. They're trying to take ownership of us because the more I look at the text, the more I get another revelation. He says that we belong to God. And God said, tell them that I have called them by name because I don't want them to get this messed up. I want them to know I'm talking to them. And so, Maya, I'm talking to you. You belong to God. Despite your mistakes, lady, I'm talking to you. You are mine. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. Tay, I know what everybody think about you, but I'm calling you out from where you are because you, Tay, don't belong to the world. You don't belong to your mama. You don't belong to your daddy. You are mine. And can I get a little bit more deep for you? Because I need somebody to declare some stuff out of your own mouth and say, that I don't belong to you. Stress, I don't belong to you. Depression, I wish I felt like preacher. Failure, I don't belong to you. Struggles and trouble, you might can do a little stuff to me, but I don't belong. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. I don't belong to you. Right now, as you listen to me, there are people in your life telling you that you are nothing. They say you won't make it. They say they think you are all that. And I need you to understand that they're just trying to speak negativity over what God has already purposed. And that's the job of the enemy, to talk you down when God is trying to shift you up. And so when I look at this, God reveals in the text that He called us by name. And our purpose then has already been predetermined. He said, I called you, Elder Lacey. You're the one I chose. I chose you. I called your name. I know where you've been. I know what you've been through. I know how rough it's been. But I called your name. You belong to me. And since you belong to me, I gave you your assignment. I gave you your future. I gave you this favor. And I want you to understand something, Bruce, as you walk with this favor. Sister Lisa, as you walk with this favor. Aisha, because I called your name, don't you never forget your name. You got invincible purpose. I tell you how I say I got invincible purpose. If God called me by name, and if God says I'm his, you can't take me out of his hands. You can't talk me out of his hand. You can't lie me out of his hand. You can't criticize me out of his hand. I don't care what you say, I still belong to him. So the text gives me some wonderful information, because the text reveals that despite complicated circumstances, according to verse 2, there are a few things we still going to be able to do. Julius, watch this. You're going to be able to pass through the waters. You're going to be able to pass through the river. And then you're going to be able to walk through the fire. Now, the water, rivers, and fire are proverbial terms for tough stuff. Hard trials and unbelievable circumstances, but the assurance we have from the text is that we're already destined to make it through. Everybody throw that word out at me. Through. See, the power word here is the word what? Through. So, in the original Hebrew term, the word through is from the word albear. It means to carry over, to cross over, to get over, to live in spite of, and be delivered to. And so my announcement this morning is that no matter what you're dealing with, it will never stop God. And so somebody said, what I'm in now can't stop God next. I need everybody to say that out loud. What I'm in now can't stop God's next. Because I have the invincible purpose that I can get through whatever I deal with. That means I can carry over. If I got to carry a little something with me, it ain't going to be too heavy for me to carry. I can cross over. I can get over. I can live in spite of. And I'm going to be delivered. And I want somebody to listen to me and say out of your own mouth, I am not consumed by right now, because I believe God got my next. Somebody give God glory. I am not consumed with my now, because God got my next. Can I bless somebody? Because the issue some of you have is that since you're going through now, you think it won't change. Bishop, I'm sick now. And so you think because you're sick now, it won't change. You think you're going through some tough stuff now, so you think you won't survive, because all you're thinking about is how you feel. And because you're dwelling on how you feel now, you lost your hope in how you feel. You lost your faith. You lost your understanding of who God is in your struggle. You let your joy get lost in your struggle. You let your ability to sense the presence of God get lost in what you're going through. And you lost the mindset to understand that you're not going in to stay. You're going through. Watch this. You are not going to live in it, Cashapp, but you're sure going to live through it. It's going to be a little heavy in here, because I can feel already that the enemy is upset, because it doesn't matter what happened in your past. I'm trying to let you know that God's going to take care of you in the present, and He's going to take care of you in the future. It's a lot going on. I know it's overwhelming, it's tight, it's confusing, it's bothersome, it's scary, it's nerve-wracking, it's a lot to deal with, but we still going to make it through. All because we have invincible purpose. I'm finished. Takes you 3 ways and 3 reasons we have invincible purpose. Then I'm out of here. According to the text, we have invincible purpose to pass through waters, because God is shadowing us. This means that no matter what we go through, God is always around. We're never traveling alone. The waters represent difficulties we run into on the journey. And in this moment, the prophet is reminding the people about the history of what God did at the Red Sea. God did not abandon the people in their toughest moment. God is now reminding them that if I could bring them through the waters, if I could bring them through the Red Sea, Isaiah is reminding the people now that God made it possible for them to pass through the Red Sea unharmed, and it left their enemies defeated but left them feeling well. And so what God is saying through the prophet Isaiah is that whatever the enemy has planned to trap you and confine you will backfire, because God is shadowing you while you're going through. He sees every dilemma. He sees every issue. He's right there with you as you go through. He's there at the beginning. He's there in the middle. He's there at the end. God is walking beside somebody right now telling you to come on. He's trying to tell you, come on, boost your ego. I need you to walk with me. You ain't walking by yourself. Get out of your pity party. Hold your head up. I need you to press on. You're going to make it through this. I know it's hard on you. I heard you when you cried out. I know it's rough on you. I see your tears. But come on, baby, walk with me. You will survive. I got your back. Your crying is only temporary. You going to survive that too. I know it's rough on you. I know it seems like ain't nobody paying attention. Ain't nobody paying attention to the severity of it. And look like everybody else has glossed over it. And it's still weighing you down every day. But baby, I'm with you. Just know that I got your back. You keep your head up. And you keep pressing on. Stop getting discouraged because somebody turned you down. Stop getting discouraged because they didn't give you the loan. Just go to another car lot. Just go to another mortgage officer. Try another bank. Just know that I'm with you. Anybody in here know that as long as God is with you, you don't have to worry about who rejects you. If God is with you, you ain't got to worry about what folks do to you, because God said, I'm shadowing you. And so don't you know I was there when they told you no? I wanted them to tell you no because I got something better for you. Don't you know I was there when they were trying to get to you because I had something better for you? Anybody know that you ain't here because of good credit, but God credit? I need about 9 of you to say, Bishop, the car I'm driving, I didn't have no 700 credit score. I think I had like a 4-something when I'm balling. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me because God is shadowing me. God is shadowing me. You don't work there because you got all the education. You ain't the smartest person in the warehouse. Matter of fact, based on your resume, you shouldn't even have a job. But they looked at the wrong resume. Y'all ain't saying nothing. But when God got a plan, God is shadowing you. And so you can pass through any circumstance because God is shadowing you. Not only do we have a visible purpose to pass through waters because God is shadowing us, but we also have a visible purpose to pass through rivers, and the rivers won't overwhelm us. This is because not only is God shadowing us, but He's also strengthening us. In the text, the rivers represent the overwhelming circumstances we may have to deal with sometime on the journey. This moment, the prophet is reminding the people about the history of what God did at the Jordan River. That moment when the people were crossing the Jordan and the priests were carrying the Ark of the Covenant, when the rivers were typically overflowing, but God dried up the riverbed and gave the people strength to walk on into the promised land, even after their long journey through the wilderness. And so now, God is saying that no matter how much we have to carry, God will strengthen us to make it through. Yeah. The reason the angel is because you still carrying it, but it don't feel that heavy because God dried up the river. Sometimes God might not remove the weight, but He'll make the pathway easy. Sometimes he'll make the pathway easy. There'll be some days when it seems like there's too much going on at once, but when you think about it, you're waking up every day with a brand new day. And just because I say this, I don't need you to get excited, but I want you to really think about it. How much stuff have you been carrying, but you still here? I'm just asking a question. Really, be honest with me. How hard was it on you last month, but you still are here? I'm just asking a few questions. You know why? Because you have such invincible purpose that God is giving you strength. You think you can make it, but He's giving you strength to make it. That's the only reason why you made it, Dre. Not because you Superman, not because you ain't crying, not because you ain't going to strengthen you to carry it because it's part of your journey. Is there anybody in here who, my God, has given you invincible purpose? I'm not going to let that break your dream. I'm not going to let that shake your faith. I'm not going to let that tell you that you come too far. Come too far. And in the midst of it, it can get so excruciating. Just the pain that's on you. It can feel unbearable. Like somebody tore your heart out. Like this ain't no ordinary stuff, Bishop. This stuff is enough, Cashapp, to make you just about lose your mind. Oh, I'm talking about this is excruciating situation. I mean, this stuff, they say God won't put no more on you than you can bear. But about 5 of y'all saying, I don't know. I don't know. Because it sure seems like this is too much to handle. Yeah. But listen at what God says. I want you to pass through the river. And you're going to pass through it and it won't overwhelm you. You're not going to drown in it. Notice that it never said you weren't going to feel it. It never said you're not going to carry it. It just said you're going to pass through it and it ain't going to overwhelm you. Because you got invincible purpose. That's how come you're still in your right mind. That's how come you have to get this. You got this mindset in you that you feel like you're going to crack up, but you didn't crack up. It's enough to make you want to go cuckoo, but you ain't went cuckoo. Because you got invincible purpose. Because God, some of y'all sitting here today on God's strength. After what you've been through just last week, some of y'all made up your mind, I'm going to get myself up. I'm going to God strengthen me just to make it. And I want you to understand this, that not only do we have invincible purpose to pass through the waters because God is shadowing us and pass through rivers because God is strengthening us, but we also have invincible purpose, and I'm just about finished, to walk through the fire and not be scorched or burned. This means that not only is God shadowing us and strengthening us, but he's also sustaining us. In the text, the fire represents destructive difficulties we may run into on the journey. So now the prophet is reminding the people about the history of what God did for 3 Hebrew boys who were thrown in a fiery furnace. Although they were thrown in the fiery furnace, God brought them out. Watch this. Not that they came out, that's important, but they came out unharmed. Not that they came out unharmed, that's important, but they came out without even a hair on their head singed from the fire. Not only is that important, and that's good, but they also came out, they didn't even smell like it. I wish somebody, the prophet is encouraging us to understand that even through the fiery trials of life, God is our sustainer. Somebody in some fire right now, you can't smell it though. You ain't never had to deal with this kind of stuff before. Somebody going through some fire. You got some stuff going on now that feel like you in some fire. The fire hot in the family right now. The fire hot in your body right now. The fire hot around your finances right now. It's a lot of frustrations building up because these fiery trials, they seem to keep coming. And every time you turn around, there's another thing coming. But I need to announce to somebody that just because you got some fire in your life, understand what the Bible says. God said because of your invincible purpose, watch this, that fire ain't gonna scorch you and that fire ain't gonna burn you up. So what are you saying to me, Bishop? In other words, you might go through, but you ain't gonna come out looking like it. You ain't gonna come out smelling like it. You ain't gonna come out feeling like you've been in it. It might get hot, but through it all, you ain't gonna burn up. Is there anybody in here that can say, Bishop, I've been through the fire, but I came out and I didn't get burned up? And some folks, when they go through stuff, you can tell they've been in it because they come out looking like it. But I'm looking at about 5 of y'all in here. I can't tell if you had a hard struggle or not. I can't tell. Now I know for a fact you've been through some stuff, but I can't tell because you know why? Because God sustained you. He sustained your emotions. He sustained your health. He sustained your body. He sustained your mind. And y'all got this mindset that no matter what the enemy do now, because of what God already brought brought you through. It don't matter what he tried now. You know you got invincible purpose because devil had already passed through the waters. Devil had already passed through rivers. And devil had already walked through fire. So send your fire, devil, because I got invincible purpose. And based on what some of you have already been through, you should have already been broken down. You should have been overwhelmed. Bruce, you ought to be weary. You ought to be about ready to be defeated in your spirit. But this God that you serve keep on sustaining you. That's why you're still here. That's why you still got some joy. That's how come you can smile just a little bit, Dre. That's how come you can laugh every once in a while, Cassandra. That's how come you can still say, I got some joy out of all I've been through. I still got joy. That's how come you're able to move forward. That's how come we still here. Look around in this room. Y'all don't know every detail of what everybody been through. Y'all don't know everything that they dealing with right now. Y'all don't know all the hard stuff that's on somebody. But as you look around the room now, I don't want you to just look at how pretty they look on the outside. I want you to think about how God's sustaining them on the inside. That's the reason why they can look like they ain't been through nothing. Because God keep his hands on them. I want to tell somebody that you still getting ready to go through some tough stuff. Excuse me, y'all, but just because I'm here now don't mean that I ain't got no more tough stuff. I want to encourage somebody now to get ready to take your stand against the tough stuff that's coming your way. Is there anybody listening now who can say, I know now that I got invincible purpose? God will show up mighty in your life. God will show himself powerful in your life. Get ready to step out of chaos into completion. Will y'all do me a favor and look at somebody and say, stop crying over stuff that can't stop who God made you to be. God been with you all the way up until now. 10 years ago he was there. 3 weeks ago he was there. Just yesterday he was there. And even right now he's still there. I need somebody to say I've been through some tough times, but I got invincible purpose. And I'm going to move forward now. Ain't no need of being afraid of what tomorrow don't bring. I got invincible purpose. God got his hands on me. As a matter of fact, God told me that he called in my name. And he told me that I belong to him. So I'm going to listen when I'm going through a hard trial. And I'm going to listen when I'm going through some tough stuff. I'm going to listen when it feels like the weight of the world is on my shoulder. I want to tell somebody that you might be in some fire right now. But listen, you might be in some waters right now. But listen, you might be in some rivers right now. But listen, what are we listening for, Bishop? God said he called in your name. And when he called your name, he telling you that you belong to him. So if you belong to him, the stuff in the river can't destroy your purpose. If you belong to God, the stuff in the waters can't destroy your purpose. If you belong to God, the stuff in the fire can't destroy your purpose. Sickness can't destroy your purpose. Weariness can't destroy your purpose. Heartache and pain can't destroy your purpose. Stress and depression can't destroy your purpose. I want somebody to realize that if you hold your head up, we can look to the hills from which cometh your help. All your help, it comes from the Lord. Stop walking around with your head hanging down. You got invincible purpose. Get ready to walk in everything that God already promised you. I got good news for you. Get ready to make it all the way through. I got good news for you. You might feel like you're stuck in it, but get ready to make it all the way through. It's your time to flourish. Somebody say it's my time. This is my season. I trust God for a breakthrough today. I trust God for a miracle today. Despite your pain, do you believe you're going to make it through? Despite your circumstance, do you believe you're going to make it through? Y'all ain't saying nothing, but I'm asking y'all questions. I said, despite what you're going through, do you believe you're going to make it through? Despite your troubles, do you believe you're going to make it through? Clap your hand if you believe you're going to make it through. Somebody shout for joy if you believe you're going to make it through. It get rough on you, but you're going to make it through. Burdens get heavy, but you're going to make it through. Friends walk away, but you're going to make it through. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me, but if you know that you got invincible purpose, if you know that God got his hands on you, if you believe that everything will be all right, but y'all do me one favor, just throw your hands up and say, yes, it will. Say, yes, it will. I said, if you believe everything's going to be all right, just throw your hands at me. Say, yes, it will. Y'all ain't acting like y'all know it. I said, give God the glory, like you know everything's going to be all right. Just throw your hands up to God and say, God, I know you're going to do it. God, I know you're going to fix it. God, I know you're going to turn it around. But in the meantime, I'm going to be strengthened because you shadowing me and you sustaining me. And I believe everything is going to be all